Hello everyone, it's me, Rory Paddock for picksfromthepaddock.co.uk. It's On the Nod live. It's a Royal Ascot special live watch along. I'm going to be sat with you here from the first, I think it's 5 races, culminating when the 5 o'clock. If you're going to be watching the final 2 races on the card, won't be broadcasting them, but I will be broadcasting the first 5 with commentary, etc. My thoughts on each race. I'll be answering any of your questions, any tips you want to share with the show. Make sure you get them sent in. If you're watching on either Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, then please just pop your comments below. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, that's how you get involved. I need to obviously advise, well, if you are going to be gambled, make sure you're 18 and you gamble responsibly. And I've also got to advise you as well that if you're watching this live, there may be a slight delay for a minute or two. So don't rely on me to be spot on time. Because of that delay, I don't want you to miss out getting on your bets or missing a race in terms of any sort of punting. But other than that, here I am. We're live and ready to rock. It is Royal Ascot, 5 days of absolute top-class international flat racing. Probably one of my best 5 days of the year. Maybe even more so than Cheltenham. You know, that's the debate, whether or not you're on the flat side of the fence or the jump side of the fence. Pardon the fun. But, yeah, here we are, and might as well get stuck into things. The first race, obviously, of the day comes in the 2:30, which is just under 10 minutes away. We are currently 2:22, so if that helps you keep track of the time. We've obviously got Modern Games at 9-4. In Spirals, attracted quite a bit of support into 11-4. Native Trail at 7's Chinned It. Former course and distance winner is 8-1. Muster Sarbeck at 10-1. Light Infantry, a lot of people talking about that one as a solid each way chance at 20-1. Berkshire Shadow at 22s. Cash at 25s. Triple Time at 35-1. Then you've got Lucille at 40s. Angel Blur at 50s for Rafe Beckett. And the rank outsider, Charlie Hills, is Pogo at 125-1. Like I said, if you're watching, why don't you tell us who you're backing in the first race? Pop them in the comments below. I'll read them out on screen, as long as they don't have a ton of expletives in. And if they end up winning, I'll give you a fair amount of props. Also, if you haven't done already, it is too late for day one, but we have been running we are currently running a Royal Ascot tipping competition. Just need to give 3 horses for each day of the meeting. Post them on our Facebook or on our Twitter accounts. And if you end up as the most profitable tipster after the whole 5 days, then there is a cash prize up for grabs. So fingers crossed and good luck to anyone that's entered that. Hopefully, between a lot of us, we've been able to find some sort of winners. If you haven't noticed already as well, over on our social media, I've given 6 horses away from Ascot this afternoon at Beverley and also at Thirsk that I think have really decent chances. I think the first one runs at either 3:30 or 3:45, one of the two. But I'm quietly confident about those selections, especially anything that's trained by Tim Easterby, I think has a really decent chance. But without further ado, let's get stuck into today's race, and I will give you my selection. It's a bit of an obvious one. It's a bit of a boring one to be totally frank with you, but it is going to be Modern Games, the current favourite, priced at around best odds of 85-40, so just over. It's about 2.25-1, roughly £2.20-1, I think, if maths is any good. But Modern Games, yeah, look, it's an obvious choice. Won last time out. Obviously, the powerhouse yard of Godolphin and Charlie Appleby. He started to get his horses firing again. Won a Group 1. Beat Chinned It last time out. That was at Newbury. Did it well enough. Had a couple of leads in behind the likes of Muster Sarbeck and Berkshire Shadow and Lucille and Light Infantry. Now, obviously, you've got to respect the likes of In Spiral and Native Trail. I think if you're looking for an each way play, I couldn't put you off Godolphin's second string. But I think in Spiral, I think it's a 240-day absence. That's quite a lot to overcome. Obviously a classy type, but that gap, that absence, that sort of break away from racing, I think is going to be really difficult for John Gosden's horse to overcome in a race as good as this, up against much fitter horses. Like I said, if I had to look for an each way alternative, Native Trail at 13-2, but I imagine the price starting to get a little bit too short for that horse. I mean, Chindit has a decent chance, but again, was beaten not too far by Modern Games at Newbury, but I think this is a tougher ask, and 8-1 perhaps isn't that generous. Mutasabek might have a chance for Charlie Hills. I'd argue that Triple Time on their best bit of form might have a chance, but just like within Spiral, this one's had an even bigger break from the course, and that's too much of a break again. Up in Group 1 company, you need to be fresh, fit, ready to go, firing, and in Spiral and Triple Time, I have big question marks over that. The Sale is a horse that has always perhaps promised to deliver at the top level, but failed at the top table. If you've got a bookmaker that perhaps gives decent place terms, say the first 4 or 5, just as a single place bet, then I think the Sale might outrun its odds. Light Infantry, I'm not going to ignore some of the experts who are really keen on this one, but seems to be sort of proverbial bridesmaid rather than the bride, and always find one or two too good. Whether or not that horse actually wants to win, I don't like that about some horses. I don't mind horses that perhaps will win and then not win for a while and then win again. But since its earlier career, Light Infantry has not been prolific by any stretch. Always puts in a decent effort, but again, I think there's perhaps classier types in this race than Light Infantry, horses that have been there and done it. And that's why I'm going to go with Modern Games. It's a boring choice. I know, really is boring. Modern Games, my idea of the winner, if I had to try and conjure some sort of better, bigger odds, maybe Modern Games, Native Trail, and even perhaps Light Infantry and LaSalle, some sort of combination forecast with those 3 or 4 combination tricast maybe. But Modern Games, it's the one for me. It's a favourite, but it's favourite for a reason. Sometimes you've just got to go for a more obvious horse, in the sense that, you can try and just dissect a race as best as you can. But at the end of the day, if it's an obvious choice or if it's an obvious selection, sometimes they're just obvious for a reason. And you can be sat there for hours trying to find an angle that just isn't there, just because you don't necessarily want to go with a favourite. I'm not the biggest favourite backer. I think perhaps this is my only favourite of the day that I'm going to be supporting in terms of a single bet. But that's for me. Modern Games, my idea of the winner. Let's have a look if we've got any comments. We do. Let's have a look. Andrew Venables, he's gone for In Spiral. I mean, fair enough. Based on their best form, you couldn't knock it, really. It's just that big break that worries me. And Roy Shaw, also on Facebook, has gone for Chindit. Again, Chindit wasn't too far away from the favourite at Newbury last time out, so you've got to give that some sort of respect. Whether or not it'll reverse the form, I don't know. Chindit potentially to finish in the money. I think as an each-way bet, I think there's worse horses you could have. Like I said, let's have a look. Right, so money on the table. I'm going to go Modern Games to win it. If I had to look for something else, we'll go Modern Games with... it's tough. Modern Games with either Native Trail or Chindit to finish in behind, maybe, if you're looking for the forecast. Again, LaSalle, I think, will outrun its odds. I think that might finish in the first half. Whether or not there's a bookmaker paying a bet like that, I don't know. And Light Infantry could sneak a place at a big price. But you know what? I'm not going to just try and give you a tip that's bigger odds for the sake of it. Modern Games is favourite, and it's my idea of the winner. Obviously, if you've got any selections, then put them in the comments below. I will give you the props you deserve. I think they are about to load, so let's have a look at the runners and riders as it stands at the minute. You can see the race there on the left-hand side. They're just behind the stalls. It's the 2:30 at Ascot. You can see the runners and riders on the right-hand side. Got Angel Blur, Berger Shadow, Cash, Chindit, Light Infantry, The Sail, Modern Games, Mutasabek, Native Trail, Pogo, Triple Time, and In Spiral are the 12 that are set to go to post. Hopefully, we've got a winner knocking about somewhere. I'm going to go with Modern Games, the current favourite. Again, no big shock to see that one come in, is it? But it is the one I'm going to go for. Again, what are you fancying here in the opener? It's 5 days at Royal Ascot. Here's the 5 days about to kick off as well. We're just a little bit behind time. It's 2:31 as it stands. You know, hopefully we can kickstart the meeting with a winner. I'm going to go with Modern Games. It is my idea of the winner. If you're looking for any other selections, remember also go and download our app. It's completely free. Just type in Picks from the Paddock on either the Apple Store, or the Apple App Store, or the Google Play Store if you've got an Android phone. Then download it for free. You've got race commentary, video content, race previews, stats, current betting markets in regards to horses that are being smashed or horses that are drifting hard. You've got longest traveller stats where it shows horses that have travelled an absolute country mile to get to wherever they're racing that day. Loads of really handy little bits and pieces that you can really get stuck into there. And like I said, it's all absolutely free, so it doesn't cost you a penny. All you need is a bit of space on your phone to download the app, and that's it. There's other sort of community things in there as well in regards to like joining the PFT sort of WhatsApp group where you can share your own tips, have a chat with other racing fans. And again, all of it absolutely free. So if you can do that and help support us, we can keep producing content like this. I'm not asking you for anything, and that's even better. Everyone wins without having to open up your wallet. So hopefully there's only a few more left to go in. You can see there on the left-hand side, the current racing about to kick off. There goes, I think that was Native Trail going in there. There's the favourite Modern Games, my selection. And hopefully we can kick off with a win. There we go. Favourite now, 7-4. Good luck to whatever you're following. And they're off, folks. Everything travelling pretty well. I mean, the triple time's a bit keen, but other than that, everything behind seems to be travelling okay. The ground looks absolutely fine. Nothing's being kicked up either. Shindy is travelling beautifully here. Modern Games not finding anything. In Spiral. Triple time at a big price. Wow. Triple time. Well, if you had that one, absolutely fantastic. 33 to 1 shot. Well, Triple Time wins the opener, and I look like an absolute numpty. If you watch any of my comments pre-race, I basically said in Spiral and Triple Time won't do anything because their absence from the race course is going to be a massive factor. Hey, presto, there's the 1-2. So I think it's safe to say if you're looking for any winning selections, you just basically listen to what I say and do the exact opposite. Fair play if you had it. I know that Pagani went with In Spiral, as did Andrew. Unfortunately, just done by the 33-1 winner. Fair play, cracking training performance by Kevin Ryan there to have that as the selection. But yes, there we go. Triple Time wins the opening race from Royal Ascot. I ended up going with, as you can see, Modern Games was my idea of the winner. Clearly not what I wanted to do to start the meeting off, but then we've got plenty of time left. We also got another question earlier as well. Trematric, what's the going like? Good to firm. Well, there's been a lot of discussion between myself and the rest of the PFTP guys in our sort of WhatsApp group. It's officially gone good to firm to good and good to soft in places around the round course. But I think that's not telling the truth. In all honesty, I don't think that's the case. We've had the likes of Nick Luck. We've had someone else that we know go out at the meeting, walk the course, and they basically said it's not gotten into the course whatsoever. It's going to be good to firm, good ground, good to firm ground. We just saw in the opening race as well. There was no kickback. None of the turf was flying whatsoever. Nothing was coming up off that ground. I would say it's decent, good, firm. It's firm ground, let's be honest. How firm? I think the water will eventually get in there. But again, I'm not too sure that there's any rain expected for any point later today. So if you're looking for a horse to back in any of the remaining races, there's a horse that prefers firm or at least good to firm ground, then that's going to be telling that's what they've got today. Anything that says soft in the going description, pardon my French, but I take it as a load of bullshit. Why the clerks of the course do that, why they profess there to be soft in the ground, we've just seen it there. There's no soft in the ground. That turf was staying solid and rooted to where it was when the horse was running over it. So yeah, good to firm ground. That's where I'd be going, and that's the sort of horses I'd be looking at. I'm going to take a quick break. I will be back in about 10 minutes, and we'll be talking everything to do with the 305. As always, though, put your comments below. I'll read them. Any questions, any thoughts, any sort of discussion points, whether it's about Ascot or other racing in general, then I will do my best to make sure that you stay as up to date and as covered. And look, you're racing fans, I'm a racing fan. Let's talk racing. Hopefully, between us all, we can come up with a winner or two. I've been Rory, and I'll be back very, very soon.
Hello everyone, it's me, Rory Paddock, the Picks on the Paddock. I'm back. It is on the Nod Live. It's a Royal Ascot special. We've just seen the first race, 33-1 outsider. Ended up spoiling the fun for any favourite backers, including myself. I was on Modern Games. I have to hold my hands up and say that's what I ended up with. But Triple Time won for Kevin Ryan, an absolute masterful training performance, considering that horse was off for 262 days. Slight suspicion that Neil Callan might end up with a whip ban. We talked about it. That was a bit of a hot topic, hot potato, so to speak, before the meeting, whether or not we'd see tons of jockeys get holidays or extended breaks. Not in terms of the numbers, but Neil Callan, I've seen the replay once or twice. I wouldn't put money on this happening, but seeing that Neil Callan had the stick way above head height, look, I think it's one of those. I think, and it was again when it was brought into play, these new whip rules, certainly something that people question. Whereby, yes, the punishment's certainly gotten stronger, but if you've just won a Group 1, and as a jockey you've got a sizable cut of that, then you know what, you'll probably take the ban, because as a general rule of thumb, winning a big Royal Ascot race, especially if the ban doesn't come into effect for a few days anyway, you've still got a book of rides for the next few days. If you can pick up 1 or 2 wins, especially big Group 1 wins, and the amount of prize money that's on offer here, and jockeys are going to get a cut of that, you know what, they weigh up the pros and cons, and they'll go, you know what, it's worth getting a ban, because I'm going to get X amount of money if I make sure this horse gets its head in front. Now, obviously, we want to see jockeys ride to the best of the ability, but within the remit of the rules. Maybe this is, I mean, look, I'm sat in an armchair. I've sat on a horse only a handful of times. Who am I to judge a jockey in the way they ride? But I'd like to think you've watched enough racing to have a rough idea, to just on the eye have some sort of guide. And to me, it looked like Neil Callan perhaps was a little bit naughty with how high he held his stick. But at the end of the day, he got his horse to win. And if you're a punter, then and you back that horse, then you'd be happy to buy Neil Callan a pint if he ends up with a short hiatus from racing. But anyway, Triple Time won. In Spiral came second for Frankie, and John and Teddy Gosden was the second favourite. And the favourite, Modern Games, failed to live up to expectations. So where do we go next? Well, the next race is obviously the 305. That's in about 20 minutes' time. And it's the Coventry, an absolute nightmare to pick out of. 22 runners are set to go to post. Obviously, 2-year-olds, most of which have either had no more than 2 races. I think there's just 1 in the field that have had 3 races, which is Hartem. Having a look. Oh no, Prince XJ has had 3 races as well, as has the Camden Colt. All the rest have had 2 or 1. Current market leader, let's have a look there, is obviously River Tiber and Asadna at 7-2. River Tiber at 6-4 is the short price favourite. Give me the Beat Boys. It's a horse that was purchased for a really big amount of money. Size, I think it was 1.1 million. Unbeaten in 2 starts. That raises for Jessica Harrington. That's the 8-1 third favourite, with Frankie Dettori up top. You've then got Bucanero Fuerte for the big powerhouse yard of Ammo Racing, for Kevin Stott and Adrian Murray over from Ireland. Bobsleigh unbeaten in 2 starts for Eve Johnson Horton at 14s. And you've got Wesley Ward, who absolutely loves having a Royal Ascot winner with the yellow and red silks, like the red V, sort of chevron type silks with Fandom. That's 18-1. Wesley Ward's had 2-year-old winners at the meeting before. Is that one a bit overpriced? You've got Chief Mankato, that's at 22s, as is Emperor's Son. Quite a few people like Emperor's Son at a big price. There's been a couple of people that have tipped it in our Royal Ascot tipping competition, whether or not they're onto something. You've got Army Ethos for the same silks and same owner and trainer of Bradsell, who won at the Royal meeting not that long ago. Holly Doyle's on board there at 25s. Hartem for Richard Hannon at 25s. And it's 66-1 bar.
But the 22 runners is an absolute nightmare who you're going to pick. Let us know in the comments what you're going to be picking in the next race. Let's have a look then. Let's have a look. Right. There's a little comment there. Maxime the Roy triple time. Mary's some blue hen. Yeah, Mary triple time. Pretty decent in terms of breeding. You'd be expected to see that go to some seriously big sire over the winter months, or next breeding season. I'm going to be dead honest. It's a really tough race to call, this one. Look, with 22 runners, I've just thrown a handful of darts and hope for the best, really. I can't really start convincing anyone that I've got some sort of dead cert or anything like that in this race. But those are my 4. The 22 runners. I know picking 4 is a bit of a cop-out, but I've just sort of thrown a handful out there. The 2 of the 3 ammo racing horses with Bucanero Fuerte and Cuban Thunder, I think could go well. Now, Sod's Law, there are 3 ammo racing horses in there, so no doubt it'll be the one that I've not picked that ends up getting its head in front, and I'll be sat here sick as a dog. Army Ethos, I think, bit of a Holly Doyle factor. Saw what they did with Bradsell a few years back, or was it last year? Last year, sorry. I think that's probably swayed me a little bit. And I think Watch My Tracer, I think, could go a little bit better than expected at a decent price. Currently, we've got Bucanero Fuerte at 14s, Army Ethos at 25s, Cuban Thunder at 66s. That's with Ross Orion for the Dominic French Davis yard. Dominic French Davis actually had a really good start to the season way back. I think it was at the Craven meeting. He had a winner or 2 for ammo racing. Whether or not any of his younger horses, e.g. Cuban Thunder, have progressed, hopefully they have done. And the other one, like I said, is Watch My Tracer for George Scott. Danny Muscat's on board. That's at 80 to 1. Now, the only thing I sort of noticed after I picked these horses is they're all drawn pretty much identically to one another. So you've got Watch My Tracer in stall 13, Cuban Thunder in 16, Army Ethos in 12s, and Bucanero Fuerte in 14s. So you've literally got them all lining up next to each other, bar one. You've got them in stall 12, 13, 14, miss one, and then in 16. So hopefully you want to be near the middle. But look, a race like this is an absolute minefield. I've picked 4 small stakes each way play. If you've got a bookmaker generous enough to pay perhaps the first 6 or 7 home, if there's some sort of special because it's Royal Ascot, then that'd be great. Let me just have a look now at the bookmakers whilst I've got everyone on screen. One of the bets that I do like to sort of place is horses like to place, so they don't have to win, you just simply have to place. I do that with Paddy Power, and what they tend to do is with a to place market, they'll offer extra places. So let's have a look in this race, for example. They call it a top finish bet, so a horse to finish within X amount. So here they're offering top 6, a top 6 finish there. Now let's have a look what they're offering in terms of just their single place betting. Now obviously it's not a handicap, so really the likelihood is they're probably only going to offer the first 4, and they're just offering the first 4. Now for me, considering the 22 runners, backing them for a top 4 finish, each way with only 4 places on offer, it makes it even more difficult. Especially if you consider you've got the likes of River Tiber, that is a short enough price for a horse that is in such a big field. Now, it's a Ballydoyle, Aidan O'Brien trained horse at Royal Ascot, Ryan Moore's booked for the ride. To start cribbing it, you'd be an absolute idiot. But do you want to be back in a 6-4 shot in a race like this? I mean, if you end up doing it and it romps home, fair play to you. But it's not my idea of a sort of bet. Top 6 finish with my 4 that I've got there. Bucanero Fuerte to finish in the top 6, 10 to 11. You've then got Army Ethos to finish in the top 6 at 2 to 1. Cuban Thunder for a top 6 finish at 4s. And you've got Watch My Tracer for a top 6 finish at 9 to 2. I mean, I'll throw a couple of quid each way on them anyway, but I would probably put all those 4 And what they actually allow you to do with Paddy Power is they actually allow you to bet those horses to place in doubles, trebles, or even the 4-fold accumulator. Now, the likelihood that all 4 of them are going to take 4 of the first 6 placings, slim to none. You know, I've got more chance of growing wings and learning to fly. But could 2 of them finish in the top 6? You know what? Maybe it might be worth it. For a couple of quid for the combination doubles, you'd end up with, I think it's 6 bets there. So if, for example, you had £1 on them, on those different combination doubles, then, you know, best case scenario is you end up with, I mean, if all 4 ended up in the top 6, then you're laughing, but that's not going to happen. But if you ended up with the 2 outsiders, Watch My Tracer at 9-2 and Cuban Thunder at 4s, that's a nice little double. Do you know what I mean? That's pays around 20-1, does it? Roughly. And for a quid, all right, you've lost £5 in the process with the extra stake. But if you're interested, that could potentially be a different way to go. You know, equally, if you're absolutely dead set that the favourite's going to win, then who am I to tell you otherwise? But those are my 4, just for a little bit of an each-way play, just for a bit of interest in the second race. Like I said, no major strong fancies in this race. It's just something because, look, we're going to be covering the race. I might as well pick something. Those are 4 little darts, which I will take at bigger prices to go perhaps better than the bookies might expect. Now, saying all that, what are you backing in this race? If you're watching on YouTube, watching on Facebook, watching on Twitter, tell us in the comments below, and I will make sure you get the props you deserve. Because obviously, you're going to have the red-hot winner of the 305, or you're going to absolutely smash it with a massive double-figure horse to place at least, right? So whatever you fancy in this race, put them in the comments below. I'll read them out. Let's have a look. Just as I said that, what have we got here in the next race? Let's have a look. Traumatic. Well, he's back to half the field like I have. Give Me the Beat, Emperor's Son, Chief Manekato, Cuban Thunder, Bang Bang. If any of these wins, I will score even bigger. All of them were double with triple time. Angel Blue and Berkshire Shadow. Well, you've got triple time, which lands. If any of those, like you said, if any of those come in and you've landed a double with them, then absolutely fantastic. But, you know, we're not calling after timing, but all I'm going to say is you comment before saying yes to a 33-1 winner. You know, just going to say, if you're on social media, we need to see the slip. Just teasing. But yeah, fingers crossed for you, buddy. Hopefully that comes in. I don't know if anyone else ended up with the winner of the first. If you did, then you've done far better than I have. Those are my 4 for the 305. I will be back in about 4 or 5 minutes. I will read through the current odds, the current prices, the runners and riders. In those 4 or 5 minutes, though, why not pop in the comments? Tell us what you're going to be backing in this race. And like I said, I will give you the props you deserve if and when they absolutely land. I'm going to go and grab a drink, and I will be back just in time for the 305. Hello everyone, we're back. It is just 5 minutes before the off. It's a 3:05. It is the Coventry Stakes, the second race from Royal Ascot. Opening day is Tuesday. Those are my 4 small little darts each way punts. Let's have a look. Whether or not, what have you gone for in this race? Let us know in the comments below. By all means, do so. Obviously, looking through the current runners and riders, you've got River Tiber, the 13-8, best price in terms of the favourite there. Then not far behind, you've got Ascot, a George Bowie horse, 100-30. The very expensive Give Me the Beat Boys at 15-2. That's attracted a bit of late support. Bucanero Fuerte for Adrian Murray, comes over from Ireland at 14s. Fandom's attracted a bit of support. He was 18s not that long ago, now into 14s. The Wesley Ward team has sent this one on. Eve Johnson Horton, the unbeaten bobsleigh, has won 2 of 2. That's at 16s. Chief Mancato for Charlie Hills, 18-1 with James McDonald on board. Emperor's Son. A lot of people quite like this Emperor's Son. It's 22-1. If it's a bit of a talking horse in the race, at a decent price there. Army Ethos, the first of my 4 selections, 25-1. Holly Doyle, Archie Watson, the team that combined with Bradsell to win last year. Hartem looks to get back to winning ways for Richard Hannon, 28-1. My other selection, Cuban Thunder at 50s. That's taken an absolute drift in the betting. Hopefully that's not been shot. Spanish Phoenix at 50s. For Andrea Baldwin. Flag of St. George at 80-1, as is Watch My Tracer at 80-1. Looking through, I mean, we're going all the way down to Alpha Whitebird. It's not tasted victory yet, but that's 500-1. I mean, if that one ends up coming up in front, you've had to stick a quid on that, you're absolutely laughing, aren't you? But those are my 4 anyway, as you can see on the screen. Bucanero Fuerte, Army Ethos, Cuban Thunder, and Watch My Tracer. Also, if you watched earlier, advised I was going to also be putting them in the to place only market to finish in the first 6, but I'm going to be backing them in doubles to do that. I mean, it's one of those that I don't know whether or not you should allow you to be able to do doubles on that bet, because they are a related bet. If one horse takes a place in the same race, then obviously that leaves just X amount of places left for the other horses in your double or accumulator or whatever it might be. But Paddy Power allows you to do it, so fair enough. We have just got a minute until the off. I will let you know when they are pretty much all loaded, and you'll be able to see the commentary there. Right, thank you very much for all those that are watching. If you want to give it a like or a share, that'd be really, really helpful. Pop your comments in as well. I'd really like to hear what you're backing in this race. I don't want any of you numpties giving it some sort of after-timing nonsense where some sort of 200-1 shot lands this Coventry now, and then afterwards you're like, yeah, 5 each way. No. I want you to have said it in the chat before the race goes live. I'm not having any of after-timing. No, you can see what I'm putting on there. So I've got to live by the sword, die by the sword. And if all those 4 absolutely fail, like my selection in the first did, then at least you can see I'm not giving it a load of BS. So, before this race kicks off, put your money where your mouth is, or at least put your neck on the line and tell us in the comments what you're actually betting in this race before the race goes off, not after when you're claiming to be Bertie Big Bollocks and you've had every big winner under the sun. I'm not having that. So go on, I dare you, put in the comments what you're backing here in the Coventry, and I will make sure you do not miss a single selection. There we go. At least one of you brave enough. Slim Biggins. Will Buick will win this one. Will Buick, I think he's on board the second favourite, isn't he? Asadna, yeah, got every chance. 7-2, best price now for the George Bowie horse. Let's have a look at anyone else. Win this one. Will Buick. Oh, Slim Biggins, Will Buick for the win. Right, well, at least one of you is brave enough to say what they're backing. Well, 2 of us, me and Slim there. I've obviously gone for those 4. Look, I'll be honest with you, I'm not dead set on those 4 in terms of I want to be steamrolling in, remortgaging the house, get your money on that quartet. You can't lose. None of that nonsense. Literally, if I'm being honest, it's a small play just for a bit of interest. If this was a midweek race and it wasn't Royal Ascot and it was some sort of maiden race, I wouldn't be touching it, or it was some sort of novice race. I mean, it'd be a quality race, but it's not a betting race that you can, 22 runners, and you're talking about 2-year-olds that have had one bit of form, 3 runs at best. Look, we could end up hopefully see a superstar come out of it. That's the best that I would personally hope for. And if one of those 4 lands, then that's a bit of a cherry on top of the cake. But look, whatever you back in, fingers crossed that they end up winning. But most of them are entering into the stalls now. So if I bring everything up, we don't want to miss anything now, do we? So let's have a look there. There you go. We can see everything all on the left, all on the right, all the runners, all 22 of them, from Alpha Whitebird all the way down to Zulu Chief. Let us know what you're backing. We're about to kick things off here. There we go. James, thank Cuban Thunder. Say, a man who's got the cojones. I think that's all of them in now. Whatever you've backed, hopefully we end up with a winner or two. You can see Ballydoyle. There's my selection. Number 2 on the race card. Army Ethos. Oh, they're about to set off. Good luck to whatever you've backed. Hopefully all the horses are okay. Jockeys are safe and sound. And we end up with an absolute superstar. Oh, there's a bit of an incident there. Installed 9 or 10, I think. Right, they've taken 2 out. Chief Mankato is one of them. I don't know what the other one is. Chief Mankato taken out, and they're off. Yeah, Buying and Chief Mankato both withdrawn at the start there. You will get your money back. All my 4 selections are on the near side. But you've got the favourite and Frankie Dettorio ridden horse on the left. Wesley Ward's horse is going like the clappers as well. Go on, Army Ethos. Go on, Army Ethos. Oh, it's going to be the far side. Go on, Army Ethos. Or is it the favourite? Oh, the favourite. Riverside was won. Riverside was won. If you're a favourite back at fair play to you. But you know what? I'll take second and third. There we go. Sorry, my mic decided to pull itself out of the cord. Always great. But no, River Tiber wins the Coventry. My selection ended up finishing second and third. I'll take it at decent prices. But if you did get the short price favourite, the money was down. Ballydoyle's first winner of the meeting with a pretty, relatively convincing win. I mean, it did what it needed to do. It was away from the pace as well, but you can see there. I mean, at that point, three of my selections were in the first six there. No, what did I end up with? I ended up with second, third, fourth, fifth. Second, third, and seventh. 4 horses, 3 of which finished in the first 7 of 22. I'd like to think I called that relatively well. And if you've got the favourite, then hats off to you. Can't really say much better than that. I've got to obviously get rid of the screen now, so bear me a minute. We'll go back to this. That was my... Those were my 4, and I ended up with Army Ethos and Bucanero Fuerte finishing second and third, respectively. So, did any of you back the favourite? Hopefully you did, because it would have been a winner. See, up next, what we got is a 340 next. We'll be looking at, let's have a look there, the big King's Stand, the big sprint race of the day, the King's Stand over 5 furlongs. Current market leader, Highland Princess at 2-1. The Overseas Charge, Cool and Gotter at 9-2. Dramatised, course and distance winner at 9-2. Bradsell, we've just seen Holly Doyle and Archie Watson team up to get a second. Can Bradsell add another Royal Ascot win to its name? That's at 14s. Wesley Wardhorse, flatter to deceive here. But can he do better with Twilight Gleaming at 16s? Marshman at 18s. As is Mick Barhy, and it's 22-1 bar the remainder. What are you going to be backing in the King's Stand? Let us know in the comments below. I'm going to be taking a quick break for about 5 or 10 minutes, but I will be back with my selections for the 5 furlong race in the 340, and I'll be reading out your tips, your selections, your comments, and hopefully answering any of your questions. So get them in the comments now, before it's too late. I will see you very shortly. Hello everyone, it's me, Rory Paddock for picksfromthepaddock.co.uk. It's On The Nod Live, it's a Royal Ascot special, it's day one. We've already had two races so far. It's now the third race, the big sprint race of the day. It's the Group 1 King's Stand Stakes. As you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, I am going to go for an each-way punt on Mitt Bahi. Did touch around 10-1, 8-1 yesterday, but it's drifted like a barge, hopefully. That's not going to be too indicative of the horse's chances. That's my idea of the selection for the 305. Other people have already gotten in touch with their comments for the next race. James has gone with Equilateral, and he's also on the mid-bar he trains, so hopefully me and James can land the spoils. Both of them each way. And Slim Biggins over on YouTube has said the Aussie horse to go close in the next, which, as you can see, goes by the name of Cool Nangata. I actually think that is a really good chance as well. Slim couldn't put anyone off that horse. However, as it stands at the moment, the current 2-1 favourite, Highland Princess, for Jason Hart and John Quinn, dramatised former course and distance winner, has been backed into 4-1 clear second favourite. The aforementioned Cool Nangata is 9-2. Bradsell at 16s. Marshman at 18s, as is Mitt Bahi, that's 18s. The US Raider, Twilight Gleamings at 18s as well. Twilight Calls at 22. Cannonball at 25s. Vad Dream at 33s. Equilateral, which James likes, is at 40s. We've got Mooney Easter for Joseph O'Brien at 40s. Happy Romance at 50s. Desert Cop at 66 to 1. And then we've got Rarsell at 100 to 1. Anarf at 125s. And Existent also at 125s. A lot of money, or a lot of support was for Manakan. That's now a non-runner, as is Chipstead for the Roger Teal team. But your current 2 to 1 favourite, Filly, or the mare, sorry, Highland Princess, is looking to go one better than what she did last time out. Trematric is split his stakes between Equilateral and Mooney Easter. Those both of them are decent prices. I think just have a look what they were again. I know Equilateral was 40s, Mooney Easter also 40s, so 2 40 to 1 shots for Trematric. I'm also going to say as well, but in this race, these horses, combination doubles and trebles, those 4 horses to finish in the top 5. Those are the prices when the graphics were done. I imagine that Mick Barney would actually be a bit of a bigger price. I actually think Rarsell at 100 to 1 might have a little bit of something up his sleeve. Look, do I think that horse will win? No, probably not. Could it sneak into the top 5 at 100 to 1? I think possibly, especially considering there's now 2 non-runners as well. But maybe we'll still pay that on the 5th there now with Chipstead and Manakan. There are 17 that we're going to go to post. Well, there was 19 that were going to go to post. It's now 17 with those 2 non-runners. Yeah, similar to how we ended up with sort of like 4 horses in the Coventry. And I said if you can get 2 of these to finish in the top 6, ended up with 2nd and 3rd. So that would have paid a decent enough sum. Then, yeah, with those 4, any 2 or 3 of those 4 to finish in the top 5, Bradsell, Coolangatta, Rarsell, and Midbahi, that'd be my extra sort of play. I couldn't put you off back in any of those 4 individually. Obviously, Rarsell at 100 to 1, small stakes, bit of fun, 100 to 1 shot. Stranger things have happened. But if I had to just obviously come down on the 1 horse, it would be Midbahi there as my each way selection in the 340. Obviously, you've got Highfield Princess. She deserves every ton of respect, as does Dramatise, a course and distance winner. I think potentially the only course and distance winner in the lineup, if I'm not mistaken. It is. Obviously, you've got Bad Dream, and you've also got Bradsell and Highfield Princess. You've all won over this course, but not course and distance. Only Dramatise has done that. I am a big fan of Carl Berg. To be honest with you, I couldn't put you off Dramatised either. You know, look, the 2 in the top 2 in the betting shouldn't be far away. I'd be shocked if either of them were out the top 5 or 6. Really. A bit of money is just coming for Coolangatta, 92 into 4 to 1. Joint 2nd favourite with Dramatised. Bradsell, a little bit of money there, now into 14 to 1. Twilight Gleaming into 16's a bit of support there. Marshman, the other Carl Burke horse, whether or not that's a sleeper, we're all watching Dramatised, and in fact, Marshman could be his more well-fancied, his secret weapon for the Burke team. But Midbahi, I'm hoping Roger Vary and David Egan can team up there. The 4-year-old can do better than its 5th last time out. If I had to just come down on 2, it'd be Midbahi, and it'd be the Aussie horse. James McDonald jumps on board. The Coolangatta, I think that has a serious chance. Finished, I think it was half a length or 3/4 of a length in a Group 1 over in Flemington last time. Group 1, coincidentally, named after Black Caviar. It's called the Black Caviar Lightning Group 1 race. Obviously, we saw Black Caviar win. I think it was this race as well, not too long ago here at Royal Ascot. Whether or not this horse can win that namesake of a race and then follow up as Black Caviar did here as the talking, was very much the talking horse that year, wasn't he? Black Caviar coming over here. Possible talks about a bit of a match race with Frankel, but by that point Frankel was up to a mile. They were contemplating perhaps dropping Frankel back to 7 and
Black Caviar up to 7. But, you know, in all honesty, we were never going to see that match race. Too much to lose on either side. If one of them was obviously going to lose, and it'd be too much in terms of a detriment to their stud fee. But Mid-Bahi is my idea of a decent little each-way play. 18-1, I think, is quite generous now. It was actually as short as 8-1 yesterday. So I've not heard anything in terms of it losing a leg, but it's not great when you see a horse drift that much. I don't mind a little bit of a drift before the off. That can just be the bookmakers trying to deter punters from getting more money on. But to see it open up at 18-1 this morning after it being backed in from the round, I think it was 25s into 16s, and it went down into 8-1. And I thought, hang on, I might be onto something here with an anti-Bell's bet on the horse. But back to 18s is a bit of a head scratcher. But yeah, Mid-Bahi is my idea, hopefully, of the winner. And then I'm also going for a bit of interest with a couple of horses elsewhere. Racel, Coolangatta, and Bradsell. You know, combination doubles and trebles on those 4 horses to finish in the top 5. If that comes in, you can see the odds there. Racel to finish in the top 5 is 15-2. 100-1 in terms of its betting price. Now, those odds that you can see on screen, they were at the time of doing the graphics about 2 or 3 hours ago. So you've got to take them with a pinch of salt, whether or not they're still available. And tell you what, if you are looking to place that bet, I will tell you exactly what the odds are now on those horses for a top 5 finish. But you could go for a top 6 finish. If you're looking for a top 6 finish, Coolangatta, there would be 2-7, 7-2 on, which was what put me off. Bradsell would be 5-6 for a top 6 finish. Mid-Bahi 11-10, and Racel would be 9-2. So I think for me, I didn't go for the top 6. I went for the top 5 just to get a bit of better prices. Coolangatta 2-5 now for a top 5 finish. Bradsell 6-5. Mid-Bahi 13-8, and Racel 13-2. Still the same price. Well, no, it's actually shortened as well. But yeah, I have to apologise. Those were the prices a handful of hours ago when I got the bet on itself. So obviously they are subject to change. Anyway, what are you backing in this race? You've got to let me know before the off. Obviously, we've got a handful of minutes before that race. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a very, very, very quick break, and I'll be right back with you. Don't worry, you're not going to miss the race. I will make sure you catch that. Hello, everyone. I'm back. There we go. Just in time for the 340. You can, by all means, tell me what you're going with.
Let's have a look. Slim Biggins has gone for Paddington later on as his nap with 2 Ps. And, well, fingers crossed. We'll have a look at that race. That's the one coming up after this. But we are talking about the 340 as the King's Stand. 5 furlong sprint race. Quick market check before they go into the stalls. Highfield Princess, the 2-1 favourite. Dramatised backed into 7-2, second favourite. Cool Garter, the Aussie horse, 4-1. Bradsell at 14s. Marshman at 14s. Twilight Gleaming at 16s. My Selection Mid Bahi at 18s. Twilight Calls at 22s. Cannonballs at 25s. Equilateral at 40s. The Dream at 40s. Happy Romance at 50s. Mooney Easter at 50s. Then it's 70-1 Desert Cop. Rarcel might have a chance at 100-1. You've got an half at 125s, as is Existent at 125-1. Who are you back in here in the King's Stand? Let us know. I will keep you updated. Let's see where we are. The horses are just behind the stalls now. They are starting to load. Be a minute or two behind, I think, before everything gets underway. Let's have a look there. Obviously, as you can see there on screen, I've gone for Mid Bahi. Mid Bahi is my preferred selection. I'd probably say Cool Garter was my sort of second choice. Couldn't put anyone off that. But Mid Bahi is the one for me. But then I've also gone for that sort of slightly obscure, different bet with Mid Bahi, Rarcel, Cool Garter, Bradsell. Any 2 or 3 of those to finish in the top 5 will pay a nice little double or treble. Hopefully we end up with 3. If all 4 land in the top 5, then I'll be absolutely laughing. But sod's law, it'll mean they'll all come 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, just to be spiteful. But I'll take that. I'll take it. But no, my idea of a single selection is Mid Bahi there. Let's have a look. Where are we up to? Where are we up to indeed? Still got plenty left to load. I think they still see at least half the field not into the stalls yet. So I think there's a slight delay. But don't worry, I'll make sure you don't miss a race. Obviously, if you're watching this live, then I have to, obviously, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, there's a bit of a warning. Please note the stream may be delayed by up to 2 minutes behind time. Don't want you to miss out on getting your bets on. So don't judge this stream as the correct off time. Don't use us as a correct time. So by the time it's streamed through myself, I've then put it through my stream and then back to you guys. It could be a handful of minutes delay. So I don't want you to miss out on putting your bets on. Don't leave it till the last minute because there's no guarantee the race hasn't already gone off by the time that you're able to view me on your screen or on your device. So please be careful with that. Don't want you to go, actually, yeah, you know what, Rory? You finally convinced me Mid Bahi is going to do something. Go, right, quick, jump on my betting account. Go and stick a bet on and the race is already gone. Only to then curse things if Mid Bahi bolts in by 5 lengths. Now, if he does that, then I'll be happy anyway. So I'll have some degree of sympathy, but not too much. Let's see, where are we at the minute? There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 more are going in. That'll leave 6 left to go in. Bad Dream just getting a nudge. Bad Dream's in. The favourite, Highfield Princess. She's in. How many's left to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. Oh no, there's 6. Dramatizer still left to go in. Rarcel's just gone in. Cool Garter's just gone in. 4 left to go in. One of which I think is, let's have a look. Who's going in now? We've got Marshman and Equilateral to go in. I think the last or final one to go in will be Existent. So let's bring up the race. Make sure you guys don't miss anything. There we go. Let's dramatise on the near side. Just going in now. Yeah, that's it. Oh, they're off. Grotto in front. Go on, Mick Barhy. I feel Princess could know. It's Grotto. Another Royal Ascot win. Grotto wins at 14-1. Yeah, Bradsell beats Highfield Princess, beats, I think, Enough, and then beats the Cheveley Park Course. Twilight Calls into fourth. I mean, I thought Bradsell had a chance, but I can't really claim it with the bet. But no, good luck if you do. Well done if you did well with Bradsell. I think the idea is you end up needing a horse to be drawn low, don't you? But yeah, Bradsell is your King's Stand winner. Well done if you got that one. I obviously went with Mick Barhy, but I did mention Bradsell there. But unfortunately, neither Coolangatta, Rarcel, or Mick Barhy could finish in the top 5 either. So I couldn't land any of the doubles there. But no, King's Stand winner, Bradsell, takes the spoils at 14-1. Annoyingly, I went with the same connections in the Coventry in the last race. Finished second, but fair play to the Archie Watson team. Fair play to Holly Doyle. You know, ends up taking Bradsell, winner of the Coventry at Royal Ascot last year, comes back to the meeting, does the business here in the King's Stand, and did it well enough. Did it really nicely. Highfield Princess couldn't get past the winner. Had a decent enough, clear enough run, but wasn't good enough. Any of the overseas raiders, the likes of obviously Coventry or the Wesley Ward horse, Twilight Gleaming, both bolted out and got decent enough starts, but were pretty much spent by the final sort of 1.5, 2 furlongs as the UK and Irish raiders were creeping in behind. I mean, in essence, the overseas runners pretty much set it up for the home team in that race. Went off like an absolute rocket, and the horses that were able to hang on and then just go past them in the closing stages a little bit. If you're into cycling at all, road racing, bit how you see sort of sprinters, they'll have that lead out men who'll go flat to the nines and then tail off in the final couple of 100 yards and let their sprinters go. Sort of similar to that, we had the Coolangatta and the other Wesley Ward horse bolt out for the first 3 furlongs and basically set a really good pace, a really good gallop for everything in behind it, including Bradsell, who the final 2 furlongs went by those and just went ta-ta with Holly Doyle, and off Bradsell went. So if you were able to get the winner, then fantastic. Fair play to you at 14-1. Bradsell is the King Stand winner for 2023. What have we got next? Well, up next, we've obviously got the 4:20 race. So we've got a 40-minute wait. Well, more like 30 minutes now. And it's the St. James's Palace Stakes. We've got Chaldean at 13-8. Bit of a clash between Chaldean and Paddington, vying for favouritism, 13-8 and 9-4 respectively. We've then got 15-2 shot Isaac Shelby. We've then got 12-1 shots Royal Scotsman and the unbeaten Cicero's Gift, but that'll have to step up markedly on what it's done so far. We've then Mustabshir at 16-1. And it's 28-1 bar the remainder, including Galeron and Indestructible. And Charin at the rank outsider at 50-1. Those are the runners and riders, sorry, the St. James's Palace Stakes. I'm going to be taking a break. Well done, Holly Doyle. Well done, Bradsell. And well done to anyone who was able to back that winner there in the King's Stand. Hello everyone, it's me, Rory Paddock. It's live, it is on the nod, and it's the Royal Ascot special. It's day one, it's Tuesday. We've had 3 races so far. Next race coming up is the 420. It's the, if I can remember correctly, it's the St. James's Palace Stakes. It's a Group 1 over a mile. And it seems to be, according to the betting, all about 2 horses. Chaldine, the 2,000 guineas winner, and Paddington for the Aidan O'Brien Ballymore. So that's reading Ryan Moore and Ballydoyle at the same time. The Ballydoyle horse, Paddington, ridden by Ryan Moore. Is it going to be one of those 2, or is one at a bigger price going to upset the party? The likes of Isaac Shelby at 8-1, Royal Scotsman at 12s, Cicero's Gift, the unbeaten horse for Charlie Hills, at 14-1. We've got Mustabshir at 18s. That's taking a bit of a drift in the betting. Indestructible at 25s. Charian at 40s. And Galaron also at 40s. Those are the 9 horses that are set to go to post. Who have you picked? Who are you betting? Well, let's have a look in the comments. We've got, let's have a look there. We've got Slim Biggins, who's like Paddington, and that's his nap here, expecting him to beat the 2,000 guineas winner Chaldine. And we've got James Emsley, who's gone for an each-way shout. Well, each-way shouts with Isaac Shelby and Cicero's Gift to go well. Who am I going with? Well, you can see on screen it's a bit boring, but I can't see past the first 2 in the betting. Chaldine and Paddington, the reverse forecast to finish in the first 2 places. In either order is my idea of a bet. Unless you're looking for a different alternative selection, then I would potentially throw into the mix Indestructible to finish in the top 3. In the top 4 at 3-1. I think that horse could do a lot better than their 25-1 price suggests. But those are my 2 bets. You're not going to break the bank with those unless you've got big stakes. But Chaldine and Paddington, a reverse forecast to finish in the first 2 places, and Indestructible to claim a top 4 finish there at 3-1. You know, if you want to go with them, then go with them. I'm due a win. I've been knocking on the door, been tad unlucky, I suppose, in going for the Holly Doyle Archie Watson combination in the Coventry, and they ended up picking up second, only to then ignore them completely. And Brad Sell for that pair ended up winning the King's Stand. But who have you got? Then please let us know. We've got about 10 minutes till the next race, the 420. What I will do actually is, whilst we've got a little bit of time, obviously this stream's going to end just after the 5 o'clock race once that's done. But I will tell you what I like elsewhere in terms of the final 2 races on the card. The 5:35 looks a pretty tough one to sort of decipher, but I'm going to go with Saga each way at 9-1. The King's horse now, taking a bit of a drift in the betting. It was around 5-1. It's now 9. It's nearly doubled in price, but it's now a decent each way option. Saga finished second at Newmarket last time out. That was after a 210-day layoff. The horse has gone up £4 for that, but should strip really a lot fitter for that run. Will obviously be back in the game. Obviously, not the biggest royalist, so I'm not really fussed the fact that it's the royal family that owns the horse. But Saga, with Frankie on board for John Gosden, could go well. I think 9-1 is now a very backable price, especially if you can get a bookmaker. Considering there's 16 runners, you can get a bookmaker that's perhaps a little bit generous and wants to give you 5 places for each way terms. It obviously is a handicap, so it will be offering at least 4. But Saga, former course winner as well, won here at Ascot before. I think that has a really good chance in the 5:35. And then in the last race, you can see behind me which picture is it? This picture here. That picture is actually Vauban winning at Cheltenham. I was there that day. One of the best bets I've ever had on a horse, and it duly obliged. Could I be backing that horse in the final race at 6-5? No, I couldn't. Could it win? Of course it could, but at 6-5, not for me.
If I was looking for an alternative, I think perhaps either Berkshire Rocco or but I'll fire three at you. Not a ridiculous amount of confidence. I think Get Shirty, Point King, and Berkshire Rocco could have a chance if you're looking for each way. Even Vauban Stablemate Absurd might do well at 7-1. Look, I'd be chuffed if Vauban won simply because he's a horse that's close to my heart, and he owes me absolutely nothing. He's held my bank balance markedly that day. It was all over him. He was my sort of nap of the festival last year, back in 2022. But at 6-5 in a race like this on the flat, could I be backing it? No, not really. So with that in mind, Berkshire Rocco, Point King, and Get Shirty as each way alternatives to find a place and certainly return a lot more than 6-5 if they do find a place. Even if you lose the pound for the win, you're going to get a lot more for that place bet. Anyway, so that'd be my idea. Saga in the 5.35 and Get Shirty, Point King, or Berkshire Rocco to go well in the 6.10. But nevertheless, we are talking about the 4.20, the St. James's Palace Stakes. It's the fourth race now of the entire meeting. We've still got another, how many? Let me do a bit of quick maths. 7 times 5 is 35, man. We've still got another 31 races after this one left of the meeting. So don't worry, I will be here on Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and maybe Saturday. Depends on the schedule, but I'll make sure I'm here for at least the first 4 days of the Royal meeting. Like you can see on screen, Chaldean, the current favourite, not far behind is Paddington at 9-4. Those two are clearly the standout horses. I mean, a dark horse in the race, so to speak. Cicero's Gift, unbeaten, done absolutely nothing wrong. Won its first 3 starts, yet to taste defeat. But this is a marked step up in terms of what it's done previously. It won a Class 2 3-year-old handicap last time out. I mean, it beat a decent horse in Colsai. I was all over Colsai that day, but Cicero's Gift certainly put them to bed. Beat One Night Thunder as well. But again, the form of that doesn't look overly strong. Colsai was a decent horse when second behind Canberra Legend at Newmarket. I backed the horse that day each way, and it probably should have won. But since then, finished third in the Diamond Stakes, did Colsai, behind Regal Reality and Highland Avenue. Just don't think the form in the book, what Cicero's Gift, you can't crab too much, but you compare that to what Chaldean's done. I mean, geez, in his career, winning the Guineas last time out, it obviously won multiple group races as a 2-year-old, culminating in obviously the Dewhurst at Newmarket. I don't think Ascot will be anything to worry about for Chaldean. Obviously, Paddington has a very strong chance. Group 1 winner last time, obviously winning the Irish 2000 Guineas. It's the clash of the English and Irish Guineas winners. If I had to put money on either of the two, in all honesty, I'd probably go with Paddington. If it was a match race between those two in the betting, but it's not, and I don't think anything else will touch them. So you know what? Why not throw a bit more money that way and reverse the forecast? You're not going to get an absolute blockbuster amount of money back, but you'll get more than you would do just backing either to win. And sod's law, it eliminates the quandary or conundrum of trying to split these two. We were very closely matched. If I had to, gun to the head, it would be Paddington. But look, with the reverse forecast, you don't have to deal with that sort of headache, and just hope that the pair of them finish first and second in any order. One at a bigger price, like I've said, would be Indestructible, but I'm going to play that safe. The horse to finish in the top 4, there's only 9 runners. As long as it finishes in the top half near enough, then you're going to get 3-1 for that. So maybe a saver on that. If you end up doing something like a £5 reverse forecast, which will cost you £10 on those two, and if on the off chance that one of those ends up finishing third, or a horse from nowhere splits those two, then you've got perhaps a £5 for Indestructible to finish in the top 4. Will recoup your £10 loss and make you a bit of money in the process.
I mean, in an ideal world, you'll have Paddington to beat Chaldine to beat Indestructible. All bets come in, happy days. You know, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, and your bank balance is much better for it. But those are my bets, just my 2 bets there. We're going to go Chaldine and Paddington in the reverse forecast, and Indestructible to finish in the top 4 at 3-1. Let us know in the comments what you're betting. We've already had a few in already, which I did put up before. We had Slim Biggins going for Paddington. That was his nap. And we also had James, who liked the look of Isaac Shelby and Cicero's Gift. Isaac Shelby's an interesting horse. Won its on its seasonal reappearance in Group 3 at Newbury, and then finished second in the Poule d'Essai Poulain over at Longchamp. That was on very soft ground. It's not got that soft ground today. Brian Meehan's charge. Saying that though, does it need soft ground? It did win on Good to Firm at Newmarket when it won the what's the race now? The Superlative Stakes as a 2-year-old. Decent sort of horse. Ended up being bought by Wathnan Racing for a decent money after that. Then it was pretty disappointing, really, in the Dewhurst. Finished 7th of 7th behind Chaldine. Can't see the horse reversing that form, in all honesty, and I'd be shocked if it did. Look, boring as it is, Chaldine and Paddington, those are the ones to beat. Do I think anything beats them? No. That's why it's worth putting them in the reverse forecast. And there we are. So, how many minutes are we till the off? We've got a couple of minutes left till the off. You can see those are my selections. Obviously, any questions, any comments, put them in the comment section below if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Facebook. I'll read them out. If there's any questions or random queries. Also, if you watched my video earlier this morning, I did an On the Nod live with 6 horses to pay close attention to this afternoon away from Ascot. The first one, Danzan, actually went and won at Thirsk. He was heavily backed into favouritism and ended up winning that race. The next one, so that's 1 out of 1 so far. We've still got a long ways to go. There's still another 5 left to run. But the next one, I think, runs in the 4:45, and that's Count d'Orsay. That's been backed into favourite now. It was around 9-2, 5-1, now 3-1 favourite. I did say all aboard the Tim Easterby train. He's already had one winner. He landed a double yesterday, and the yard seems to be absolutely flying. I know it sounds a bit sad, really, considering we've got such top quality action from Royal Ascot, but I do tend to find that I will land some of my bigger bets when there's one of the bigger meetings on. The likes of Cheltenham, the likes of Royal Ascot, maybe Derby weekend, something like that, when all the focus is on the major events. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love having a big festival type winner or winner at a major meeting. You get a lot of props for it. Working in this industry, you get pats on the back. But at the end of the day, would you rather have 3 losers at Royal Ascot or 4 winners at Beverley on a random Tuesday? The bookies don't care. They pay you the same money, you know. It doesn't come gold-plated or with a seal of approval from the royal family if you end up with Royal Ascot winners. You know, if someone said to me, would you like a winning 4-fold on the horses? And someone said, oh, it's during Royal Ascot. You went, brilliant. Actually, but it's not at Royal Ascot. It's lower grade racing somewhere else up north or on the all weather. I don't think anyone should really turn their nose up at it. Profit's profit and money's money. Now, getting ahead of myself there. We've had 1 winner, still got another 5 to go. But if it comes out all right, then I think you can't really turn your nose up. Hopefully you got on the winner anyway. So fingers crossed you did. And that was Danzan that claimed the 3:30 race. The next one in that bet, the 4:45 race, I've gone for Count d'Orsay. If you do want to have a look at what those selections were, so again, there's another 5 left to go. There's 2 at Thirsk, and then there's 4, I think. Yeah, there's 4 on the card at Beverley this evening. It's basically On the Nod live. It was streamed at about 7:50 this morning. I was live in this seat, giving my selections. Before this next race, or maybe after this race, go and have a look, go and check it out and see what those horses are, because there are 2 10-to-1 shots. One of them was 14s as well, and another one's 11, but I think they've been backed into 10s respectively at Beverley later on this evening. So they're not just short price favourites, they're some at decent prices. We are now at off time, so I'm going to bring up the race, and then we will be able to watch the 420. Is the Prince of Wales. Get my words back, my teeth back in. The St. James's Palace Stakes, not the Prince of Wales. I don't know where I got that from. Chaldean's your 13-to-8 favourite. Paddington 9-to-4. If I had to split the two, I'd go Paddington, but that was a tentative selection. I've gone for the pair of them in a reverse. Top 4 finish, and Chaldean and Paddington in reverse forecast. They are off, and there we go. So is it Chaldean or Chaldean? Go around the final bend. Here we go. If we can finish like that, I'll be happy. I just need Chaldean to hold on. Chaldean needs to hold on to second. Please hold on. And he does. Paddington, I said, of the two, I would go Paddington. But I'll land the forecast. It's not going to pay much money. But finally, winning bet on the card at Royal Ascot. Paddington claims it and does it very, very nicely. Another winner for Ballydoyle, Aidan O'Brien, and those infamous blue and orange silks. Paddington wins and wins nicely, beats Chaldean or Chaldean. And then we've got Charian in third. Let's have a look. What finished fourth? We've then got in fourth, we've got Isaac Shelby, and then we've got Indestructible. You know what? The bets weren't far off. They weren't far off. I can't really complain too much with that. It was close. I did go Chaldean and Paddington, the reverse forecast, which came in. Happy days. And I went Indestructible to finish in the top 4, but I only finished 5th. But it was close. It's close, and I'll take it. There we go, Paddington. Class horse. Class told. Absolutely demolished Chaldean there. Like I said, fair play to those that said it as well. It wasn't wrong, was our slim. Paddington was his nap. And it was easy enough to see why. Absolutely blitzed them. Won with these. Paddington wins, beats Chaldean. I land the forecast. Everyone's happy. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to save my voice. But I'll be back in about 10 minutes to talk all things the 5 o'clock. So whilst I'm gone, put in the comments what you're backing the 5 o'clock. And hopefully, between us all, we can land another winner. Hello everyone, back. I am back indeed. It's me, Rory Paddock for picks from the paddock.co.uk. It's on the nod live. It is Royal Ascot Day 1, Tuesday, and we have got the 5 o'clock race coming up. So, runners and riders and anything else we need to know, then I will fire them at you now. First of all, though, whilst I'm about to do that, tell us what you're backing. The Ascot Stakes, 2 mile, 4 furlongs. Obviously, this is a race in which we see all the National Hunt boys come out to play. The likes of Willie Mullins, Nicky Henderson, Alan King, Harry Fry this year as well. And the rest all have runners, as does Ollie Murphy. Dual purpose trainer Ewan Morrison has a runner in there. Gordon Elliott has a runner in there. Ian Williams does. Paul Nicholls does. And others besides. So let's run through the runners and riders. We'll do them in order of odds. Obviously, we've got the short-priced. See, now it's 3-2, but to me, it's always going to be 6-4. 6-4 favourite. Let's kick it old school. Willie Mullins, Ryan Moore. Now, in terms of a dream team, that's not far off, is it? They team up with Bring On the Night. Obviously, the yellow and black silks that we've seen more notoriously over jumps with the likes of Shishkin, Styrian Falange, and other big name horses in the jumps world. They've got Bring On the Night, the current 6-4 favourite. Then the best chance for the flat boys, James Fanshaw's trained Novel Legend. Horse that's done absolutely nothing wrong, really, in terms of its recent form. Hasn't finished outside of the first 2 in its last 5 starts. A winner of a decent handicap at Chester back in September last year. And last time he saw it was second behind Zinc White, who reopposes today in the Chester Plate. Obviously on better terms now than they were that day. Actually, in fairness, the horse has gone up £6 for that second placed effort. Novel Legend there at 7-1. You've got Calling the Wind for Richard Hughes. Billy Loughnane takes off £3 at 15-2. Then we've got Nicky Henderson, who teams up with William Buick again. Not a bad team if you can muster it. And that was with a horse with no name. Law of the Sea represents Ian Williams at 9-1. Zinc White, who beat Novel Legend last time. Also for Ian Williams, Jim Crowley keeps the ride. Zoffy for Hugo Palmer and Ben Curtis at 18-1. Irish Lullaby for Jesse Harrington and Ronan Whelan at 22s. Tritonic for the dual purpose trainer Alan King at 25s. Flurman for Ollie Murphy at 28s. Western, Colin Keane and Gordon Elliott, some of the best in the business over in Ireland, with Western at 33s. The Grand Vizier, former course and distance winner, race winner at 35-1. I think that's perhaps a bit too big in terms of a price. Pleasant Man, Paul Nicholls and Tom Marquand, again, a decent duo. Not one that'll have teamed up that often at 40-1, as is Solent Gateway at 40s. Aknamara, Harry Fry's charge at 50-1 shot. Safi Osborne climbs on top. Former course winner, The Max We Can, Jamie Spencer and Charlie Johnston at 50s. Throne Hall, can Holly Doyle and Archie Watson add to their tally there with their 50-1 shot? Urban Artist at 50s and the rank outsider at 125-1 Milton Harris and Rob Hornby with Prince Imperial. East Asia is a non-runner in the card. Ian Williams. It was going to be Pat Dobbs to ride that. That's now been pulled. So those are the runners and riders for the 5 o'clock. The Ascot Stakes. Very decent looking handicap over 2 mile and 4 furlongs, or 2.5 miles. Who am I going to go with? I hear you say. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to go with 2. Oh, why did my voice go then? I want to go with 2. I want to go with Zoffy. I think has a really decent chance and at a big, big price. I think The Max We Can, albeit it's a bit of a veteran now, but I think potentially it's one of those horses that he's only a 7-year-old, but it feels like he's been around for absolute ages. Finished 3rd of 7 at Haydock last time out, behind Solent Gateway and Law of the Sea, but was only 3 1/4 lengths behind that day. The extra 4 furlongs, I think, will play into its hands. In terms of sort of travelling over this sort of trip and form over this sort of trip, the furthest it has gone is in this race back last year. Finished 10th and 19, so it wasn't exactly a stellar performance, but it's £5 below that mark. Also, it ran over 2 mile, 4.5 furlongs at Goodwood in a Goodwood handicap back in July 2021, and it finished 8th that day, 8th of 20 odd, I think it was. Let's have a look. How many runners was there? It was 8th of 20, 8th of bang on 20, and that was off a marker 98. It's off a marker 92. I mean, it's placed over 2 mile 2 at Newmarket on a couple of occasions. Again, I think it's one of those horses whereby you know it'll stay the trip. It's whether or not it's going to stay up enough in such a big field with the way that it likes to run. It likes to be somewhere between the middle and the back, so slightly held up. And it's not too bad, really, when you've got a trip like this, but you just don't want it to get too far behind, that if it's going to come with a late rattle, but it's been given too much to do. That's my slight fear. But at 50 to 1, you know what? In a race like this, it's worth a few pennies. And the other one, as you can see on screen as well, is Zoffy. That is going to be ridden by Ben Curtis. And I think it's Hugo Palmer that trains it. Indeed, it is. Was second last time out last month. And that was second as 16 behind Metier, the dual purpose horse. That was in the Chester Cup. Now, obviously, the horse is going to have gone up for that in terms of the weights, but it's only gone up £2, and I think that's fair enough. That was coming after a 216-day absence. I think it'll have improved markedly for that. Prior to that run, it finished 4th in the Cesarewitch as well. So big runner, handicaps, tick. Long trips, tick. Seems to tick plenty of boxes. And it's one of those where, I mean, he's had a hurdling career and he did quite well over hurdles as well, to be totally honest. I mean, it's way above its last winning mark, but it's placed in big long-distance handicaps. It's been sparingly raced in the last couple of years. Now, whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, potentially had fitness issues or worries in that sense. But Hugo Palmer has got it right. It seemed to have done when it finished second last time. If it'll improve upon that effort, I think it has every chance. 16 to 1. Yeah, those are my two. Again, no big sort of like steamroller type bets in a race like this. Bring on the night. You're not going to be shocked if that wins, are you? Calling the Wind, I think, might be a bit of a forgotten horse. But, you know, you look at its form figures. Its form figures of 6th, 4th, 12th, 7th. In terms of its last 4 runs, it doesn't spark too much appeal. But because of that, it's now on an attractive mark. But you would have hoped that with recent efforts like that, it'd be a much better or more generous price, but it's not. 17 to 2. I think that's probably too short. Again, a horse that I would have been really keen on if you could have gotten, say, 12s or maybe even 14, 16 to 1. I'd have been all over it then. But 17 to 2, way too short. Novel Legend, a horse that always runs its race. Like I said, it's not been out the first 2 in its last 5 starts. Would it be a shock to see it finish in the top 2 again? Certainly not. But again, 7 to 1 about a horse that, all right, is very ultra consistent. But with 19 runners, I don't think it's faced a race of this nature before. And there's a lot of question marks. A horse with no name, I think that deserves a ton of respect. William Buick and Nicky Henderson was actually a decent enough flat horse in terms of its previous flat form. Last time we saw it, it actually won a novice hurdle race at Cheltenham, which you have to kind of think, well, actually that was a pretty decent shout. And it also finished 10th in the Mares Novices Hurdle back in March. Hasn't been seen since April, but looking at its flat form, I mean, it finished 5th in the Cesarewitch when it was last seen. That was off a mark of 96. It's off that same mark again. Prior to that, though, it run up a string of wins, 4 in a row at Catterick, Thirsk. Then a decent race in the Class 2 race at Newbury. When it won, it beat Arifarius and Inchicore that day. That was a decent bit of form. And then ended up winning after that. The time after that, that was at York in the Findo Money Handicap. Again, that was a masterful performance. It won by 5 lengths that day. And again, fifth in the Cesaro, which isn't anything to sort of turn your nose up at. My slight worry is potentially that the ground might be a bit too firm for this one. Law of the Sea and Zinc White, both Ian Williams horses. I think of the two, I actually prefer the outsider of those two. Zinc White, I think, has a decent chance, especially with Jim Crowley still booked for the ride. But no, my two, we're going to go Zoffy, and we're going to go the max we can. Other little mentions for Pleasant Man for Paul Nicholls. I think might do better than its 40-1 odds. And also, I think the same can be said for Tritonic, for Alan King and Ross O'Ryan at 25s. Those two could go well. But my two, we're going to be looking at is Zoffy and the max we can, both each way. What are you going in the 5 o'clock? Let us know in the comments. We've got Trematric, who have gone for 2 for me, Zach White and Law of the Sea. I think both have. Oh, I think you mean Zinc White. Again, same owner, same trainer, the Ian Williams trained duo. I think I couldn't put you off either of them. I think both have solid chances, but it's one of those races that you could put a blanket over most of them. You're not going to be overly shocked at anything winning, really. You expect the Willie Mullins horse to go and do the business, but whether it does, we shall see. So again, small stakes, no big sort of massive bets for me in a race like this. It's going to be a sort of a tentative bit of a play, just a couple for each way purposes, just for a bit of interest. But we've heard it there. Trematric is going with the Ian Williams duo. What are you guys going with? Let us know in the comments. We've got about 5 minutes till the off, and we'll see what comes up there. Is Bring on the Night an absolute steal at 7-4? Is he a good thing? Is he a nailed-on certainty? Another Ryan Moore winner to add to River Tiber and Paddington earlier in the day. Can he make it 3 wins? Do you think this is the one for him? We shall see. That's coming up in, let's have a look. We've got about 6 minutes until that one is set to go. Let's have a look there. If you're following my selections from earlier today, when I did an On the Nod live, I gave 6 horses for an each way lucky 63. 2 from Thirsk and 4 from Beverley. I am pleased to report that Danzan did the business, my first selection in the 330. And then Count Dorsey ended up finishing second at 5-1. So money back or bet to nothing for an each way bet for Count Dorsey. So far, so good. If the other 4 are horses that might be interesting you, then after this stream, I would urge you to go and check out that video. It's only about 6 minutes long. And the other 4 horses from Beverley later on this evening. In fact, what I will do whilst we're on live and I've got your attention, 4 horses that I like from Beverley. I'm not going to tell you them, but what I will do is, if I can bring them up. So I'll give you some of their odds. We've got a 7-2 shot. We've got an 11-2 shot, which has been backed in from 12-1. And we've got an 11-1 shot there. I'm not going to tell you what 3 races they are. I'm not going to tell you what the other 4th selection is either. I'll keep that under my hat. But go and check that video out. First 2 have gone in. Can we make it 6 out of 6? Hopefully we can. So I think they are slowly making their way down to the start. You can see just on screen if you're watching on ITV, the Ryan Moore, Willie Mullins trained runner there, the favourite, just slowly moving down. Nice looking grey there with Jim Crowley's Zinc White. Obviously a grey horse with the name Zinc White. Beautiful looking. It's had sort of like a checked pattern shaved into its hindquarters. Very, very pretty. I'm sure if you were judging best turned out just on that alone, you'd be giving that groom some sort of prize money. Let's have a look there. So yeah, let's have a look. Where are we? Yeah, Law of the Sea and Zinc White for the same owner. That was only bought last month as well. S. Beetham and DPL Fab Limited both bought these horses in May, I think. Well, they bought Law of the Sea was bought in May, as was Zinc White. That was bought in May as well. Both have a decent chance there for trainer Ian Williams. Both been supported as well, 17-2 and 14-1 respectively. But yeah, if you're watching this stream, just pop in a comment now. What are you backing in the 5 o'clock? It's a really open looking race. Oh, Dramatic's back. He's gone for a small each way on Throne Hall 2 at 66-1. Let me see what price he is now. He is 66-1. That's the Archie Watson Holly Doyle team. Can they add another win to the table, to their day so far? I mean, might have a chance. Dual winner on the flat. Let's have a look. Furthest it's gone is 2 miles. That was here at Ascot, but he did finish 10th of 10th. I'll be honest, it's not one for me. Wouldn't be a surprise if it won, but I mean, obviously I know it's gone hurdling and stuff like that, and it's won over hurdles, but the furthest it's ever won on the flat is 1 mile 2, which is obviously double that here. It's going to be a tough ask for Throne Hall, I'll be honest with you, but stranger things have happened. Irish Lullaby might be interesting for Jesse Harrington at 22-1. Ronan Whelan jumps on board. Look, my two are Zoffy and the Max We Can. Small each way plays. Again, not one that I'm going to go hell for leather with. The Bring on the Night is the obvious favourite, based purely on connections, really. The Grand Vizier, former race winner, 50-1 might be a bit too much. Pleasant Man, Paul Nicholls, Tom Marquand, and also another 50-1 shot there. Yeah, I think, look, if I'm going to give you a couple, I think Tritonic has a chance, can't put anyone off. Obviously, we've got the favourite. And then I think big odds, the Grand Vizier and Pleasant Man might be decent. But I'm going to go with Zoffy and the Max We Can. Those are my two, and it's not far off. They're starting to load up. Slim Biggins, another one for Zinc White, as was Traumatic. And James Emsley, a horse with no name, and Grand Vizier. See, Grand Vizier, I've just mentioned it there, James, as well. I think it has a cracking chance. Considering it won the race, I think it won this race, didn't it? It certainly won over course and distance. And I don't think there's any other race run over this course and distance other than this one, is there? Let's have a look. Just double check. Was it a winner of the race last year or the year before? Let's have a look. Or was it a good while ago? I think it finished third in the race back in 2021. Didn't run in the race last year. And was it prior to that it won? Finished second in 2022. Sorry, in 2020. Yes, and it won it. It won it. It won this race back in 2019. Then it tackled the Queen Alexandra Stakes in 2020 and 2021, finishing second and third. Clearly loves it here at Ascot. I mean, just out of curiosity, I'm going to have a look at what the horse's Ascot form is. Obviously, purely on the flat as opposed to any sort of like hurdling exploits. I mean, looking at its Ascot form is really good. All of it came at this meeting, the Royal meeting. In 2019, it won this race. In 2020, it came second in the Queen Alexandra. And in 2021, it came third in the Queen Alexandra, off marks of 100, 104, and 105. Runs off a mark of 95. In fact, James, you know what? I'm getting more confident about the Grand Vizier. And I think they're about to kick off. So without further ado, let's head on over and take in the race. They're off indeed. And I'll bring you the commentary now. So that's good from the Max We Can. I was really worried that the horse would end up being stuck behind. So it's got a really good position. There we go. Still one way to go.
Zoffy's got a lot to do from there. The Max Buchanan is there and thereabouts still. The Max Buchanan's being held by a bit by the jockey, so I'm hoping he's still got a lot left in him. Go on, Zoffy on the outside. Go on, Zoffy. Oh, I'm really hoping to get a place, but I don't think he will. Keep going, Zoffy. There we go. William Buick with his first Ascot winner, but not for Godolphin. Horse with no name, calling the wind. More of the Sea, Tritonic, Western, and then Zoffy are your first 6 home. Grand Vizier was in 8th. Novel Legend in front of that. Solent Gateway in 8th. But Horse with no name wins. And would you believe it? William Buick gets a Royal Ascot winner. No shock. Wasn't for the Blue of Godolphin. Well, there you go. A horse with no name. Absolutely hats off to, if we can find. Where was that comment? There we go. Well done, James. A horse with no name and Grand Vizier, both each way. Well, the horse was in foal. Some horses do improve for being in foal. In foal to Cracksman. I think that's probably bumped up the price if that foal ever goes to sale. Then, as you saw, James Emsley, well done, my man. Ends up tipping the winner there in the 5 o'clock. A horse with no name comes along the inside. In fairness, it needed to find the gaps. It found the gaps. It was a bit lucky in terms of doing so, but once it got that break and it was in the clear and then off and away it went. I went with Zoffy. If you ended up with a bookmaker paying the first 6, then we have got 6th. So we will take that for a place. But well done to anyone that followed James's selection there. I have been Rory Paddock. This has been on the Nod Live. That was the 5 o'clock. Hopefully you backed the winner. Before I let you go, I want to give you a couple of bits of advice and 3 things to listen for. First of all, in the next race, I'm all about Saga. Saga. There in the 5:35 is my idea of the winner, but I want to be backing it each way because it's currently a massive 10-1. 10-1 for Saga there in the 5:35. That's my selection there. And in the final race, small plays on close distance winners Get Shirty and Berkshire Rocco, and also not to rule out another horse by the name of Point King. Those are my 3 just small each way bets there in the 6-10. What's the other bit of information I need to tell you? Well, the other bit of information I need to tell you is if you've not done already, then head on over to our Facebook or Twitter page at 8 o'clock tonight. That's when it becomes open and our second round of our competition to win a big cash prize. It's a Royal Ascot tipping competition. A few people have had winners, but no one's had a big prize winner. So it's all still to play for. Pick 3 horses, any race for Wednesday. So head on over to, it's free to enter. You can only do it on our Facebook or Twitter accounts. So don't forget that. If you're not following us, let's have a look there in the bottom right-hand corner. If I hide this banner, there we go, at Picks Paddock on either Twitter or just type in Picks from the Paddock on Facebook and we will pop up there.
completely free to enter. Also, if you want daily selections, head on over to our app. That's absolutely free as well on either the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Again, just type in picks from the paddock, all separate words. Download the app. That's free daily race previews, full race commentary, various different stats every single day, video content and other bits and bobs from myself and the rest of the team. We landed a double on Monday from our pundit Adam Mills, so that was only exclusive on our app. So make sure you head on over and don't miss out on that. It's all absolutely free. If you could give this a like or a share, join me tomorrow from 2 o'clock. I'll be right back with the first 5 races for day 2 of Royal Ascot, where I'll be sharing your tips, your selections, your comments, any questions. All your support is very much welcome. And thank you once again for watching and supporting us here at PFTP. It means an absolute lot. If you haven't done already, here's why you should download our app.